Hello and welcome to Bedtime Stories. Tonight we're going to be reading Part 2 of The Church Mice in Action by Graham Oakley. Remember where we left off last time? We were right here. And it said he was so absorbed in doing this that he didn't notice the danger until it was too late. It looks like Samson is in trouble. Next day, a ransom note arrived at the vicarage. The parson's sister, upset as she was glad to see the kidnappers had done it correctly, just like on TV. Okay. What does this say? It says, "We have the cat. Put all his stupendous winnings in a bag and leave in the pork under the new statue at 10 a.m. tomorrow, or you will never see him again. It will be no good." See what they did there? "Telling the police because we are too smart to be caught. Must rush now to catch the post. One of his whiskers prove that we have him. Yours sincerely, Curly Dumble Charlie Numbskull, 2 Plank Street, Worthlethorpe." Now, let's get back to the story. The parson and his sisters did exactly what the note demanded, except they couldn't find a sack big enough to load all the cat litter. They did manage to get in all the flea powder, though, and they were sad about the 10-pound note, but as they said, Samson's life was worth that. While they were getting the wheelbarrow, Arthur and Humphrey strolled by, and being nosy, they had to just peep inside the sack. And before they knew where they had been delivered with the ransom, they just managed to jump out of the sack before the kidnappers arrived. The first thing they noticed when they were safe on the ground were some fun Samson-type noises, which they tracked down while the kidnappers were deciding who should open the sack. The kidnappers weren't very good at many things, but they were excellent at doing up straps. The mice were still struggling to undo it when the kidnappers at last got themselves sorted out and made their getaway. The 2 men were very angry. They knew Samson had won thousands because they read it in the papers, and they weren't going to let him go for measly 10 pounds and some second-hand flea powder. The mice didn't know exactly what was going on, but they did know that their 10-pound prize shouldn't be in someone else's pocket. Look, looks like Samson's tail, and the mice right there. So they removed it. Then Humphrey popped up ahead to see where they were going, but before he had time to find his bearings, he lost his footing. Oh no, what's going on? Look at this scene. Here's the mouse. Oh no, I have a mouse on my head. He smacks himself. And he tries to get the mouse. The mouse runs all over the place, goes to the first guy. Oh no, he hit the driver of the bike in the head trying to get this mouse. And looky here. Looks like they all just ruined it. Everybody was still for a while, wondering which bit of himself was broken. The 10-pound note was the first to move, followed closely by Arthur and Humphrey. The 10-pound note had the advantage in the race. The mice and men were pretty evenly matched. What the kidnappers gained by the length of leg, the mice made up for by shortness of leg. They're all in a race to catch this note. Humphrey gasped peevishly that it was disgusting what humans would go through just to get their hands on mere money. Arthur, wet, puffed, prickled, and stung, just sniffed as sarcastically as shortage of breath would allow. Then, just when everybody thought the money was within their grasp, their hopes went up in smoke. Oh, look at this. Looks like the $10 note is burning. For a few moments, everyone's feelings got the better of them. After that, the mice set off home. Looks like the dogs are scaring away the bandits. Look at this. They would have forgotten all about Samson if they hadn't come upon the kidnappers again and stopped to listen to them out of curiosity. Most of the noises the men were making weren't exactly words, but what words they did say were about all the nasty things they were going to do to Samson, whom they blamed for all their troubles. At that, the mice quickened their pace because they knew that if Samson was to get much older, they must reach him first. Are they going to get Samson? Let's see. They did get to Samson first, but the plastic string around the box was too tough for their teeth. They just had time to gnaw holes for his legs in the bottom of the box before the kidnappers arrived. Look at this. Oh, it looks like Samson's moving in the box. When the kidnappers saw that the box containing Samson had vanished, they did 3 things. Firstly, they remembered all the swear words they'd ever known. Secondly, they started to search for the box. And thirdly, they set an unofficial world tandem speed record over 23 miles. 23 miles to get this cat in a box. You know what that says? It says Worthelthrop. That's where they're from. Getting home could have been a problem, but luck was with them. Soon, Samson was unpacked and they were bowling along in comfort. Humphrey suggested that now they had taught the kidnappers that crime didn't pay. They could get back to the rigging of cat shows and make themselves a fortune. But Arthur and Samson gave him a look that would have made even a hero's knees knock. Let's go back to look at this picture quick. See Samson in the basket? And the little mice too? I'll read this while you look at the picture, okay? So there were no more cat shows. A few days later, the parson's sister went home, and soon after that, the last wisps of magnolia blossom faded out of Samson's fur, and the mice stopped holding their noses when they came near him. The vestry roof leaked now more than ever, but the verger kept the stove going day and night to make up for it. And with the bits of the parish magazine stuffed in the cracks around the windows and a few hassocks along the bottom of the doors, it kept to keep out the drafts, the mice could doze cozily around the stove on winter evenings, while Humphrey told them for the 100th time about he had outwitted the kidnappers. Oh, Humphrey. The end. Tune in tomorrow for another reading from the Church Mice book series.